So I'm trying to use up this Country Woods paper pack that I have. This is all I have left of this paper packet. I have one full sheet and then a bunch of scraps. So I have some random photos that I'm going to use this on, and I found a sketch on Pinterest that's a one-page sketch. So I have these 4 photos here. They are 3 by 2 3/4, and then the bigger ones are 2 3/4 by 4. And so what I'm doing, I'm going to put them next to this layout in my book. This other layout is a Father's Day layout, and it's a single page. So I'm trying to make it coordinate with that one because I'm weird like that. I like my things to somewhat go together when they're side by side, even though they're different events and different pictures. So I made this circle with a Cricut file and just added a line and cut that circle into 4 pieces. So that's where I got those 2 quarter circle pieces that I'm using. And then I'm just going to put my photos on this scrap of like the dark blue wood grain. So I'll go ahead and glue those on there. And I matted them on white. I was just going to put them right on that dark blue piece of paper. Night of Navy is the right color term. And they got lost. And so I decided to just put them on a very thin white mat because I didn't want to lose the blue altogether. I liked the blue, but I wanted my photos to be the star of the show because that's how it's supposed to be, right? So that's what I did. So I'm getting those put on. Okay, now that I have my photos all ready to go on, I'm going to go ahead and start assembling these pieces here real quick. So I'm going to do that off camera and then I will be back. Okay, so I have this all put down now. I'm going to use this old stamp set from Close to My Heart called Love These People. This is part of I believe this was a special one time, and I haven't used this stamp set yet, and I haven't actually put together the workshop that came with this either, but I love this stamp set. So I'm going to use this Love These People title. So I'm just I'm going to put it right there, I think in that corner. I laid it down and I liked it right there. So that is what I am going to do there. So I have these circles that were cut out from a project that I had already used this paper pack for, and I just threw it in there with the scraps. And I thought about putting them around the outside of that half circle. So I'm trying that out right now. And I do think it kind of looks cute. So I'm just kind of laying them out and seeing if I like it for sure. So on the sketch that I'm using, it does show some like little dots around that outside of the half circle. So I'm trying to bring that in is what I'm doing. So I'm kind of thinking I could trim those ones off that run off the page right there. That would be an option so that I could get them all the way around. Just put some little slivers on there at the end. But I ended up deciding that I didn't really like those circles. They were kind of too big and overpowering. And so I went to my scrap rack, which is where I keep all of my little dots and strings and ribbons and enamel dots, basically any little embellishment like that. And I went to see if I had anything in there that would coordinate with these colors. So I am getting ready to do some stamping. So on the stamp set, it has a brush stroke. I don't know if you can see that right in the corner of that little stamp set there. I am using, this is a very old, very retired, Close to My Heart color from when I first joined a long time ago, but it coordinates really well with the petal pink. and Stampin' Up. So I just relabeled it with Petal Pink is what I did. So I've stamped that brushstroke there. And then I'm going to try out my title. I'm trying to decide if I need more of that brushstroke, if it needs to be bigger. So I'm just going to lay my title over the top and see. And you know what? I do think it needs more. Because I think most of it's going to end up being covered up by my title. So I am going to just stamp that a couple more times. And this is all an experiment. Like, I'm not sure what this is going to look like, but I am giving it a try. So there's the second time stamping it, and I like that. So I'm going to go one more time and make it just a little bit bigger, do one below it. And I flipped it so that it's not like perfectly the same every time I stamped it. So it's a little bit different, just like it would be if you painted some brush strokes on there. So I really do like that. So now I'm going to grab my title and I'm going to ink it up. I have a little Stampin' spot from one of my paper pumpkin kits in Night of Navy. So I'm going to use that for my title. So I'm getting that all ready right now. So my little girl came in and she was stringing beads on strings. So I had to make her a bracelet, and she moved all my little brown dots off my paper, which is fine because I'm probably not going to leave them there anyway. But anyways, that was kind of funny. So I cut out a part of the video where her little arm was all over in front of the camera. But I'm inking up my title right now, and the way that I do that with those little pads is rather than putting my stamp on top of the pad, is I actually take the stamp pad and turn it upside down and dab it on the stamp, and that just gives me better coverage and helps it not be so messy. I think it works really well. So, and then I realized that I forgot to condition that and I wanted it to stamp clear. So I'm just going to stamp that on a scrap real quick, and then I'll rub that on my arm and get all the residue from manufacturing off of that so that I get a better stamped image. And then I will finally stamp my title. So I really like this stamp set that I'm using, and I want to try to include a couple more images off of it. So I found a little border stamp that's probably a little bit less than an inch, and I'm just going to stamp that right below my photos and to the left of my half circle, just as a little accent to my page there. So I really do like that stamp down there. And now I'm taking a brown journal pen and I'm just adding a little stitch border down along the edge of that half circle. I felt like it needed something, like it was just floating on the page, and I figured that dotted line would kind of give it a starting point. I don't know how to describe it, but it needed something. So that is what I am doing here. And I end up really liking that, and I'll bring that in close to show you as soon as it's all done. So there it is. I have it all done, so I'll bring it up for you to see. My camera is just not picking that up very well, but it does look really cute, and I feel like it's just what it needed. So my scrap rack is organized by color. So I have all my orange things together, all my red things together, you know, so on in rainbow order. So I went to my orange section and my blue section, and my green section, since that kind of sea green color could be in either, to just kind of find what would work maybe around that edge. So I'm really liking these little peach colored sequins and then those flowers. So I am going to keep those. I also found these, all of these, and a lot of them are not the right colors, but they're pretty close. So I'm just kind of going through them and comparing and seeing what I like. I like those little shimmery ones. Those are not a terrible match. But I'm going to set them aside for now. I'm not sure that I want to use those, but I'm just trying to find, I still don't know exactly what I'm going to do here on the outside of this half circle, but I'm just trying to kind of gather up some things to look at what my possibilities are. So I found these little green sequins that are like those peach ones, and I really like those. So those are a strong possibility. So I'm going to set them here as well. And then I decided to go back to my stamp set to see if there's any little thing on there that I could use also. And kind of have an idea forming in my brain at what I want to do, some kind of a border along there, but I'm still not quite sure exactly what that's going to look like. So I'm actually just kind of going to go for it and start putting some things on here and hope that it works out. So I laid down some of those sequins to start, and I'm trying to figure out where to start those. They don't really fit up there where it gets narrow at the top. So I'm going to start them over a little bit. And then I think what I'll do is grab a journaling pin and just put a couple smaller dots in that skinny space and make that work out. And then I'll get I found a little teeny tiny heart on the stamp set that I'm going to use too. So I'm going to get that ready. And I think I'm going to do that with brown ink. So I'm going to try to find a brown that matches really good, and we'll go from there. All right, so we are just going to go for it. So I found, I'm using a dark blue journaling pen. I'm adding my dots there, and then I'm using espresso ink, which is a close to my heart color, to stamp those hearts. And I don't really want this to be a definite pattern. I want it to be random. So I'm just going to use some elements. I'm going to use the sequins, the orange ones and the green ones, my little brown stamped hearts, and my blue dots for my journaling pen. And I'm just going to go all the way around that circle, just kind of random without a pattern in mind. And hopefully it looks okay, but I think it's going to turn out really cute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed up the camera here so that you can watch me do that, but so that it doesn't take so long. So I went ahead and did the second half of that circle off camera since it was taking a little while. And then I also added some sequins up by the title, and I think I'm going to add some journaling and put some down there too. And then we'll look and see if I think it needs anything else or if it's all done. Okay, so I needed to put the dates on here, and all these photos have different dates. So I die cut some little file tabs with a die from my stash, one for each picture. So I'm just kind of arranging those around the pictures to see if I like it, and I do. So I'm just going to go ahead and look up the dates on my photos and put the dates on those tabs, and then I will glue them in. All right, so I have it all done. So I'm going to bring it up close so you can see it. I did decide to take a shimmer pin and add some splatters to the background with my espresso shimmer pin. And then you can see all those sequins and the file tabs, my journaling. And I really like how the little embellishments around that circle turned out. So it is all done. Thank you for joining me. And I hope that this has been helpful. I hope it gave you some inspiration, and I would love it if you would click the like button and subscribe. That helps more scrapbookers find my channel for helpful tips. Thanks for watching.